Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. If you're not excited about the season starting now, you never will be. Shin Yamada, what a player. With the fleeting glimpses that we got of him last night as a Celtic player, there's a lot to be happy about, because I tell you one thing, he does definitely look like a player in the making. And there was a lot of other positives to take from last night. I think we were going into the game and I think we were all just hoping for the best. And I did say on the live before the game last night, I'm looking for a good performance. I'm looking for fast attacking football, good defensively. And Brendan Rodgers changed the system completely. He was playing more a 4-4-2. Brendan Rodgers did talk about the change of formation in the lineup. He said after, obviously, the Dutch scoring freely against us late on in the game the other night, it was a test. He says pre-season is all about building fitness and to deal with a quick turnaround against strong teams. We changed the team. Obviously playing Thursday and then playing again tonight, we have to change the team around. It's great for the fitness in the players, and of course you always want to win. I think the other night we looked a little bit leggy by the end of it. So it was good tonight that we didn't. It's the same tonight. Last night he's talking about. The decision to rotate the players heavily offers a fresh approach and opportunity for players down the pecking order to make an impression. And that comes on the day. That we enter the last 16 draw for the Premier Sports Cup. That will be live. I am going live for that tonight, this afternoon at 4:45 Celtic Park time, after the Ayr United game. St Mirren take on Ayr United. St Mirren, the team that Celtic take on a week today. The season is back. It's back. We're back into the thick of things. Pre-season is done and dusted. It's been a good end to the pre-season game, to the pre-season games. Winning on penalties, there's so much positives to take from the game last night. I think that with the defeat to Ajax, as heavy as it was, Brendan Rodgers said it wasn't a 5-1 defeat. Well, it was. We got beat 5-1. When you look at it, I think that Sinisalo, I've been saying it since before the Scottish Cup final, Sinisalo will be a fantastic number one. He has given Brendan Rodgers, he reminded me last night during those penalties, he reminded me of a young Arthur Borage jumping about on that line, and it was just wonderful to watch. It was absolutely brilliant. We have a new holy goalie. Sinisalo was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to say it, and I mean I'm a biased, yes. I said before the Scottish Cup final, I felt that he should start. I felt that his distribution out from the back is quicker. He's a lot sharper because he's younger. It's no disrespect to Kasper Schmeichel. It's an age thing. Comes to us all. You know, his reactions are just a little bit slower. And you've got a guy that's almost 18 years younger than him or something. Of course he's going to be about 14, 15 years younger. Of course he's going to be quicker. You know, it's part for the course. I like Kasper Schmeichel, but I think personally, that Sinisalo should be the number one goalkeeper. I think he brings so much more to Celtic, and we've got a really good defender. We'll talk about defenders in a minute, because there was a shock admission by Cameron Carter-Vickers just coming up. So make sure you stick around for the shock admission from Cameron Carter-Vickers in this one. But I thought the keeper should have saved their goal. Yeah, come on. He gets his hand to it, Peter. It's an overhead kick. The defenders get nowhere near it. It was a fantastic... I mean, when you look at that goal, right, I would say Inamura was out of position. Inamura's out of position. James Forrest has to track back and stop the winger. The winger gets round James Forrest, puts a cross in. Inamura's out of position for that. James Forrest should be coming down the wing to double up so that the players are doubling up on the winger. He shouldn't have been allowed to get the cross in. And Sinisalo gets his hand to it, but it goes in. It was a fantastic overhead kick. Come on, you can't take it away from it. Yeah, Mo, I read that this morning. Thanks for telling everyone. But anyway, for me, Sinisalo is absolutely immense. He brings a smile to my face, and the way that the holy goalie used to. And I just think that, do you know what, we're in good hands. No matter what Brendan does this season, what it does do is it makes sure when we go into the Premier Sports Cup this season, Brendan Rodgers can change it up. You remember he changed it up at Falkirk last season and brought some of the players that were on the periphery of the squad. He brought them into play, and by half time he took most of them off to bring the first team on because it was a woeful game, and we had to make sure that we won, because hell mend us if we had got put out the Premier Sports Cup at such an early stage. Anyway, let's move on to Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston this morning. Alistair Johnston, just back from after being married. Cameron Carter-Vickers, it was his first start, really as well. But Cameron Carter-Vickers admitted that he had to go for the operation. It was no pain, no gain, as he says. He says, has been a late arrival to the pre-season party after going under the knife to sort out a knee issue. He returned to the game, and he's admitted that he's not been really fit since a young age. In fact, it was a teenager. He hasn't been free of any aches since he was a teenager, but it won't hold him back. There was another 45 minutes under his belt. It was good. He feels good after the surgery that he had in the summer. It's kind of sorted a few things out for him, it said. A bit surprised that Celtic kept that one under wraps. They kept it under wraps. I mean, Cameron Carter-Vickers obviously ended the season. He was out for a few games. It was relatively straightforward. It was his right knee, just kind of cleaning some things up, kind of fragments, and had come loose. Cleaning that out and trying to get the knee to settle back down. There was a bit of stiffness and pain now and again, but wasn't too bad. I'm going to learn to get on with it and kind of play with it now. It's pretty normal to pick up these little things throughout the season, but I feel 100% good. But realistically, it's just on to the new season. He feels like he's ready to play. That's it. Brendan Rodgers found some improvement in the squad, which was much needed last night. Brendan Rodgers believes the Celtic squad do need further reinforcements. We all seen that. We do need wingers in. We do need... there's a big question now. Is Paulo Bernardo proven he's worth the $6 million and to either be in beside Cameron, to be in beside Cal Mack in the middle of the pitch, or will he even take over from Callum McGregor? I think he's a better player. I think he brings more to the game. He's younger as well. Do you know? I mean, Paulo Bernardo's a lot younger than Callum McGregor. But Brendan Rodgers did admit last night we need reinforcements. The Celtic boss says we're in a really good place after pre-season with the penalty shootout. You know, the 1-1 draw. Winning on penalties, but we do need players in. One player that we did get in and we got 45 minutes off was Shin Yamada. And I can only imagine the songs it's going to be for this guy. He was brought in the second half, a 1.5 million striker. Drilled. It was it was the strangest penalty I've ever seen. I thought he was going to miss it. I've seen many penalties taken like that, and you're like, why did he stop? What was that all about? But he gets it in the back of the net, and he wins us third place in the Como Cup. And I've got to say one thing: he was taking up positions like Kyogo would. It seems that give it a couple of weeks and we'll all be going Kyogo who. Yamada had a goal ruled offside. He was about a yard offside. Some people were saying on the live last night, look, he should have been onside. It's his first touches with the ball with a brand new team. He's only been in training with the new team since Monday. So give the guy a chance. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. We've got glimpses of what he could be and what a potentially fantastic signing. And if he turns out to be just as good as Kyogo Furuhashi at 1.5 million, you know, I think it'll get to the end of the transfer window and we'll go, do you know what, we've only spent 15 million in total the whole window. We've not even spent that yet. We'll be lucky if we've spent 5 million. But if it gets to the end of the window and we've only spent 15 million, and we're already. I think we've brought in 23 million already this window, with more money still to come into the club from ex-players that are possibly being sold this summer. Josip Juranovic being one of them. Josip Juranovic is maybe going to England, and Celtic do have a sell-on clause with Josip Juranovic. You remember he was sold to Union Berlin back in 2023. And then there is the money that's to come in for the likes of Marco Tilio. We'll talk about Marco Tilio in a minute. Coming in from Yamada last night, he showed composure, he's positioning, he's got a bit of pace, quick, strong. That's the one thing that Kyogo didn't have. He was pushed off the ball easily and the shoulder charged. I think Shin Yamada is going to be a lot tougher against defenders in the SPFL. I think the ones that like to give the old shoulder charge in the SPFL off the ball, you know, when our strikers are making runs and you get the defender just totally and blatantly just shoulder charging them off the ball just to take them out of the game. I think Yamada is going to give them something else to think about, which will be absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's say good morning to some player. We'll bring players in, just need to chill. Players will leave this transfer window. Yep. Paulo and Adam Ida may be trusted. Do you think Paulo Bernardo will leave? I don't think so. I don't think Adam Ida will leave either, and I don't think Trusty will leave. I think you're way off the mark with those ones. I think Trusty give Brendan Rodgers. Trusty will go through. If you're thinking that we're going to get rid of Trusty and keep Liam Scales, that's just madness, mate. Absolute madness. Not a chance. The ref was comparable quality to Celtic TV. Yeah. Paulo to go to Portugal or Spain. You reckon? If we lose Paulo Bernardo, unless we're selling him for a vast profit, I think it's nuts. Because he's better than Callum McGregor, and I tell you one thing, he grabs a hold of the midfield. And if we let him go, Brendan Rodgers needs to rethink everything that he's doing at Celtic, because that's just madness. And if he's trying to turn people against him, if he gets rid of Bernardo, I tell you one thing, he's going to fuck him, get a new manager in. Paul Baird will love me saying that this morning. Anyway, Rodgers did explain why so many players were given opportunities, because there is going to be the opportunity for players to get more game time as he rotates the team when it comes to cup competitions. Talking about the cup competitions, 7 more clubs reached the last 16 of the Premier Sports Cup yesterday. Celtic do enter the fray at this point, as well as a lot of other teams. The cup draw takes place after the St Mirren Ayr United game today, and that is on Premier Sports 1, I think it's on. It's on Premier Sports anyway. We will watch about the last, I think I might come on and watch the last 15 minutes of the St Mirren Ayr United, just to see how St Mirren are playing, and obviously to see how Scott Brown's doing with Ayr. Anyway, when it comes to transfer talk, there's still not a lot going around, and I'm not going to add to speculation. I think it's just time now that I want to get the beginning of the season up and running and see where we go from there. Anyway, anyone see the Buddhist getting sent off to the stands yesterday? Nope. Paulo needs to play more games. Class player. Yeah, he does. And I think that him in the holding midfield, do you know, does he not rate, after taking Paulo Bernardo from Benfica and paying 6 million for him, and then bringing in, I mean, is he saying that Benji's better than the holding midfield role for him? I don't think so. And Benji was meant to be coming in as a forward type player. Paulo needs to play more game time. Yeah, he does that. Anyway, let's jump into some of the comments this morning. Stephen, did I get a reply for you? Let me just... Stephen. No. It's cool. Can we get the Huns? Yeah, we can get the Huns in the Premier Sports Cup. That would be a complete laugh if we got the Huns, considering we play them at the end of the month. Anyway, the SPFL season does start next week when we take on St Mirren for the first game of the SPFL season 25-26. 7 days, 7 hours, 14 minutes and 10 seconds until Celtic kick off the brand new season at Celtic Park. Yeah, we do raise the flags as champions, and then the week after we head away to Aberdeen, and then after the Aberdeen game we play in the Premier Sports Cup. That will be announced today and added to the Celtic schedule later on, and then we head back to Celtic Park to Livingston for Livingston first game at Celtic Park as they've came back up into the SPFL, and then we end the month. Well, before that we've then got a little matter of the Champions League. Yes, we've got a Champions League qualifier to take care of. And then, just to add the spice to the end of the month, we go to Ibrox to take on the current Buns, the Zombies. Let's hope we're drinking Huntiers by the end of the month. And by that point, hopefully, if everything goes to plan, Celtic should be at least a minimum of 3 points to the good at the top of the table. Nothing's won in August, we know that. It is all about winning in blocks of games. I do expect Brendan Rodgers to start talking about winning these blocks. He does it every season. When you go into the first months of the year, first months of the season, he does talk about winning in blocks. And then there's the Manchester United Legends game at Celtic Park. Will you be going to that? Scott Brown to return to Celtic, back to paradise as a legend, as an old geezer. But he's probably going to be one of the fittest old geezers on the park that day. Anyway, it is just a quick live this morning. I think we'll be a lot stronger opponents in the Champions. I think we'll get a lot stronger opponents in the Champions League this year. Yep, I think so as well. I think that we got lucky with the draw last year. But, you know, we played some good teams, and I still think as long as we finish above 20, I mean, our target this year for me in the Champions League should be finishing 20th and above. That should be the target for Celtic. But before we get to that, there is the little matter of qualifying. Are we in a more confident position? There we go. Do you feel better about the Champions League qualifier game now? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. It's a quiet one. We'll do a quick one. Realistically, do you think that we're going to qualify? Says Liam. Well, I've just done a poll. Tell us what you think in the poll. Do you feel better about going into the Champions League qualifier game? This one should split the fans right down the middle, and it is already. Oh no, hey, yeah, it's 60-40. Yes is on the 40. Oh, it's changed now, 52-48. And I should have run this one earlier. Do you feel better about going into the Champions League qualifier game now with the squad that we have? And Brendan Rodgers will definitely be trying to get players in, because if we're about to lose Marco Tilio, if we lose Yang, I think we need to then bring in 3 wingers. And Celtic are never bringing in 3 wingers this late on in the window. Not a chance. Not really, unless we get more quality in. It says Paul. Catholic Rebel says nope, doesn't feel better. I'll have my usual targets for the season ahead. Shin to score more than 15 goals this season. I think if Shin Yamada is, I would say he's going to score more than that, mate, because I said that Adam Eder scored 10 goals coming in half a season. I said that he would score double that he did in a full season. If he can score, we need to get wingers in. We need to get good wingers in. If we get good wingers in, Yamada will score 20 goals this season. Easily a 20-goal season for him. He wants to come in, and I think Brendan Rodgers has thrown down the gauntlet to him and said, look, I want you to be a 30-goal a season man. Simple as that. I mean, he will set targets, and I think it's not going to be 15 goals. Not a chance. I think Brendan Rodgers will give him a target of 30 goals a season, because we lost a lot of goals in Kyogo. We lost a lot of goals in Matt O'Reilly. We lost a lot of goals in Nico Kuhn and 20-odd goals. You know, over the space of a year, that's a lot of goals to be lost out the club from players. If Adam Ida is still at Celtic, which I think he will be, I can't see him being sold because nobody's going to buy him, let's face it. And then if we do lose Adam Ida, we're going to have to go into the transfer market again to buy another striker, or we're going to be short in the striker department. You know, so you can't lose Adam Ida and put out Johnny Kenny on loan, because that won't work. I mean, as good as Johnny Kenny is, I can't see Johnny Kenny scoring 20 goals a season. That's just my opinion. Anyway, Joseph says, Baz need to stop playing from the back. Sideways, players need to move over the ball and intercepting the ball. I think we grew into the game last night. I think Sinisalo doesn't play it. See, this is what I'm talking about, the keeper. I think Sinisalo moves the ball out quicker. I don't think that Sinisalo likes passing it out to the back as much. It's where Kasper Schmeichel does. He kind of does what Brendan Rodgers tells him to do and has trained them to do. It's like, this is how we play. It's like you pass it out for the back. And Kasper Schmeichel will do that to the letter. It's where Sinisalo's like, fuck this, I'm putting them under pressure here. Do you know, and you've seen it a few times last night. Sinisalo would get the ball, put it out wide, and it was putting us under pressure. We would lose the ball in our own half, and then Sinisalo, the next time he would get the ball, he'd like, fuck this, up the park with it. Fucking just get the fuck off. Get away from my box. Anyway, what time is the Premier Sports Cup draw? It is, the live's already up and running. It's at 4:45. 4:45 Celtic Park time, so I might go live around about 4:30 just to get the end of the game, because I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of St Mirren, seeing how they're playing and see how Scott Brown's doing, because Scott Brown has one of our players. Brendan and Co are definitely trying to get rid of Adam Ida. Well, if they are, they're going to take a massive hit on him. And why play him in so many games at the start of the pre-season if you're trying to get rid of him? But we'll wait and see. I mean, Brendan and Co, that means they're in cahoots. They're not in cahoots in anything, because if they were in cahoots, they would have got the players in that they wanted. But anyway, we'll wait and see what happens. I'm kind of going to just give up on transfer speculation now until it is the final day of the transfer window. Obviously, when news does come in that we do have medicals booked for players, we'll be all over that. But speculation wise, I'm just going to leave it now, because it's starting to get, this window has been more tedious than ever. Anyway, players stepped up to the mark last night, gave Brendan Rodgers a hell of a lot to think about. Players like Sinisalo made his mark. For me, Paulo Bernardo made his mark. Luke McCowan, he put his name down for, going ahead this season in the SPFL, maybe even the odd Champions League game, coming on as a substitute in the second half. Inamura, 250 grand. What a find he has been this season. But does Brendan Rodgers now go with Sinisalo as backup to Kieran Tierney? Having that little bit of a change of formation, you could say, is good. Has he now dropped interest in bringing in another left back to Celtic? Because he said only a few weeks ago that he was still looking for a left back to be backup to Kieran Tierney. When it comes to the midfield, it looks like there will be some changes there, but Brendan Rodgers does want to go for a little bit of height in a certain French player, but will we get him? And then it comes to the wingers. Will Bill Wishaw come in the door? I think we need a minimum of at least 2 top-class wingers, and especially if Yang and Tilly will leave. I think we need 3 wingers, to be honest, just to keep the squad at a decent size. But the man who could steal the show for the season ahead will be this man. Yep, Shin Yamada. When you look at the physicality of the player, the pace of him, what he can bring to the game, I think he's going to be a handful this season, and he'll let us forget all about somebody who buggered off and wanted away for months. His name will never be mentioned by us again. Anyway, on that note, I shall see you at around about 4:30 this afternoon for the Premier Sports Cup draw live. Have an absolutely fantastic day, Sunday, wherever you are, Celtic fans all, around the world. Where's that video?